This show is a proud member of the Blue Collar Roots Network and is created for professionals and people who know what they're doing already. The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the network or the sponsors. Do everything according to government regulations, OSHA safety practices, and manufacturer listing and labeling instructions. Not just because someone said so on a podcast. Now, on with the show.
You're listening to the Tool Pros Podcast.
You might catch them looking at their phones during their kids' recitals and find they are looking at the Measure Quick app. Billy Noth and Brent Ridley.
What's up, guys? This is Brent with the Tool Pros, riding in the truck next to Ralph from HVAC Shop Talk. How you doing today, Ralph?
What's going on, everybody?
Alright, guys, so we're making a little special little episode here. Maybe we can call it like the Shop Pros or the HVAC Tool Guys or something. I don't know. It's a combination of the two podcasts here, and I think it's going to be kind of neat.
Yeah, I do too. It's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah, so Ralph and I are on the way to the Atlanta airport. We're headed out to go see Sporlan in Missouri. We're going to Washington, Missouri. We're going to the Sporlan plant. I'm excited for that. Do a little tour. I think they got a special class. All kind of good stuff. Ralph's been out there before. How was it, Ralph?
Man, it was awesome. And you'll get to see all the lab and the factory and where they do all the cool stuff at. The class we're going to is refrigeration specialist. And I hear it's a pretty cool class. And Gene, we had him on the podcast, and he does a really good job. The guy's very smart. He's been there since like 1974 or something like that. He's been there for a long time and knows what he's talking about. I think we're going to learn a lot.
Well, I'm wondering, like, if it's refrigeration specialties, if they cover any kind of refrigeration stuff, I will be ecstatic, because I'm not a refrigeration guy whatsoever. I mainly do residential, like commercial HVAC, but refrigeration is what I really lack at, and if I could learn more in that, I'd be happy as can be.
Yeah, I did tell them, though, when they invited us to the factory, I told them they're pretty much going to have to gear their class towards air conditioning. And I agree with you. I'm not much in refrigeration. It was just one part of the industry I never wanted to do, just simply because I didn't want to get called out at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, when somebody's walk-in freezers down and they got $10,000 worth of product in there or whatever, that's considered an emergency. And not only that, what I didn't like is having to carry like 4 or 5 different refrigerants on the truck. To me, that's frustrating too.
I know. I never thought about it. I never wanted to carry that much refrigerant on the truck either.
Yeah, and I just bought a jug of 404 the other day for a little work on a private school, and that was a little double door reach-in freezer, so I had to buy a jug of 404 the other day. And now he wants me to work on the ice machines that are in the place. The ice machines, I think, have 134 in them or something. It's something different than 404, so it's all of them seem to take a different refrigerant.
No, I totally agree, and it's just not something I wanted to ever do, Brent.
Yep, so I wonder, are we going to see any Zoom lock stuff out there, Ralph?
Let me tell you something. On the lab, on the rack setup, because they have a supermarket, they have a mock supermarket set up. The rack is a huge, huge rack. So if I was comparing it to a human, it'd be the Dolly Parton of rack systems. I mean, it's huge. And most of the fittings have been changed over to Zoom lock. And you'll see it. I couldn't believe it when I went. And when I went the last time, I wasn't that into Zoom lock, so I really didn't pay that close attention. But from what I remember, most of the fittings were converted over to Zoom lock, so it was pretty cool.
It shows they put their money where their mouth is, so they entrust all their test equipment and everything that they have invested in that lab, in the Zoom lock fittings. So that tells me that they stand behind them and they got full confidence in them. I do too, but it's a little bit more assurance from them. It makes me feel good.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. If I was still in the field, I'd be using a Zoom lock all the time. People talk about the fitting being too expensive, but to me, that really didn't make a difference, the cost of the fittings. I mean, I guess there is a point where I would say, no, I don't want to use that fitting because it's too expensive, but at the price they are now, I'm willing to spend the extra $100 on a job to use a Zoom lock.
I just add $100 into the final cost, and most of my customers, if it breaks down to a $100 difference, my customers are going to use me. If I'm $100 more expensive than the other guy, I would hope, then they're not understanding the value that I'm bringing to them. But yeah, just add it into the job.
No, I totally agree.
Now, are we going to see like something cool, like some Generation 3 smart tool or something?
I hope so. But Sporlan's already said they're not going to do any airflow stuff. So I don't know if the Pro R tool is as far they're going to go or not with it.
It honestly, to me, I love Sporlan, but it seems like they've kind of quit pushing that a little bit. It seems like it's kind of hit on the back burner, or maybe just because, Ralph, you've quit talking about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it could have been that. The only bad part about me not being in the field anymore is I don't get to take advantage, and I don't get to show off some of these tools anymore like I did before, which I hate it. I really do. But for me, getting out of the field was worth it, because I've said it for ever since I've changed jobs that, hey, my knees are still in good shape. My back is still in good shape. I'm still in good health, and as you get older, that seems to take some priority.
Absolutely. I have no desire to be doing this as I get older, in the field at least. What I mean, I have a desire to be in the trade and be involved in the trade, but I don't want to be the guy out here doing the change-outs every day. But that's not stupid. That's not turning your back on the trade or anything like that, like some other people kind of think. All it is it's saving your body, letting somebody else do the hard work, and let the young man jump in and do that install, because that's what it's for. That's a young man's game.
Yeah, and you know what, Brent? Towards the end, I would tell my customers, look, I used to do every install. Every install that I got, I did it. But towards the end, I was like, what am I doing? It's a young man's game. I mean, it really truly is. It's a young man's game. And I would tell my customers, I said, look, I'm going to hire somebody to put this stuff in, because anybody can tote this stuff from the street to the attic. But I don't want to do it because that's the grunt work that as you get older, you just don't want to do anymore. It's not fun.
Honestly, it's more, you've been there, you've done that, you have the experience. Why not pass that experience on to somebody else, a young apprentice, let him learn, teach him the trade, and then let him go from there.
These owners of these $10 million companies, they're not the ones doing the installs.
No, you think Brian Orr's out there putting in air handler?
Man, Brian don't pick up a screwdriver. Are you kidding me?
Exactly, man. So, that's what it's all about. But we're excited to be going to Missouri. It's going to be a cool time. I don't know what we're going to get into. We'll be sure to make video. I'll be sure to try to sneak some video in the back room there.
Man,
maybe.
They're not going to let you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
They ain't going to know, Ralph. They ain't
they're going to know. They're going to know. But I, for one, am going to convince them to let me do a video on the pressure test of the Zoom lock. The one where you could do 6,000 pounds and show that the pipe bursts before the fitting does.
That's a great idea. Now, is that the same thing that they were doing in the Zoom lock truck, or did they do that in the Zoom lock truck?
They won't pressurize it that much because it is in a plexiglass container.
Sure.
But the one at Zoom lock, or the test at Sporlan, is thicker, is meant for pressure tests.
Gotcha. I'm sure it's a safety concern with the roadshow truck and all that stuff, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, they don't want to be impelling some contractor with a piece of copper.
That wouldn't be too good for the Zoom lock brand. I don't know, we'll cut it off right here and we'll get back to you guys when we make it back. We'll let you know of our thoughts and our feelings on the way back. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Tool Pros Podcast. The best way to listen to this podcast is by using your smartphone or other web-connected device, and subscribing using the podcast app on Apple devices or the Stitcher app, or Google Store for Android devices. You can find all of the shows on the Blue Collar Roots Network by going to bluecollarroots.com. From all of us at Blue Collar Roots, thank you for listening.